So Zion Williamson is Zion Williamson. Like, he does not want to play for the New Orleans Pelicans. Dear Lord, he does not want to play for the New Orleans Pelicans anymore. Because, like, Zion Williamson is currently, like, not really playing much basketball. And he's somebody that, you know, doesn't really care about ball. He's shown he doesn't really care about ball. And before we get onto that, though, we are so close to 10,000 subscribers. If we can hit that by tomorrow, the end of tomorrow, we've been going for it by the end of the month, and we really are leaving it till the last minute. So if we could hit that, that would be unbelievable. But yeah, that would be still incredible. Either way, though, now let's talk about what Zion Williamson said. So Zion Williamson he's missed more games than he's played, I'm pretty sure, over the course of his NBA career. He's barely played basketball. He's been injured for a lot of this season. And he's he's been suspended. He came back from injury for one game and he got suspended. So, yeah, I don't think there's been much good coming out of this season for Zion. But if you guys don't know, the Pelicans stink. The Pelicans are one of the 4 worst teams in the NBA right now. They suck. So having Zion play isn't that beneficial, but the Pelicans are 100% going to want to trade Zion. So the Pelicans have now gone into a situation where they are tied for the 4th worst team they're the 4th worst team in the NBA. And the Nets are in major tank mode. But the Pelicans, who are 5-5 in their last 10, is not good. And Zion Williamson, who, again, by the way, and I mean this when I say this, Zion Williamson literally did not play for half a season because he didn't feel like Zion. Like, that was his reasoning. That he didn't feel like Zion. Not like, oh, I'm injured. I just don't feel like Zion yet. And that's fine, If you don't feel 100%, you don't feel 100%. It is what it is. But now, when he just doesn't feel 100%, okay. But now that his team are starting to rest him. So when the team wants him to play, and he doesn't want to play, he'll give every excuse in the world. But when the team doesn't want him to play, suddenly it's this.
Let me make this clear to everybody out there. If I can play in the back-to-backs, I would. I physically, yes, I can.
He has said plenty of times, I'm physically ready, but I don't feel like Zion. He literally missed out on the playoffs because he didn't feel like Zion.
But I work for the Pelicans. They have decided that based off the numbers, it's not smart to do that right now. So, if that's what they feel, I'm rocking with them on that. But yes, if I could play in a back-to-back, I would.
So Zion, the only time Zion is going to openly say, I want to play, they're trying to sit me out, is when he knows they don't want to play him. So when the Pelicans want Zion to be on the floor, he will make any excuse to not be on the floor. But when the Pelicans don't want to be on the floor, he's like, oh, well, I want to be out there. Like, imagine that, like that, for me, that is the sums up Zion Williamson. He's someone that, like, is using any excuse possible to not play when the team wants him to play. And as soon as he hears that the team doesn't want him to play, it's suddenly, oh, now I'm going to play. He's like, oh, I want out. And then the team's like, okay, cool. We're just going to sit you out. No, actually, no, sorry, I want to play. And it's like, he knows he can say whatever he wants to the media because the Pelicans don't want him to play. Like, he literally, like, it's one of the most ridiculous things. And it's just been Zion Williamson's whole career. It's been Zion Williamson's. And he's like, oh, I work for the Pelicans. They don't want me to play. And I'm like, he has made it all not very clear he doesn't want to play, but he has basically made it so that make it look like he has never cared about basketball in his career. And for the first time in his career, his team are really struggling, and they're like, you know what? Make sure you get healthy. If nothing else, to trade the guy. If nothing else, make sure he's healthy in the offseason so they can trade him. And he's just there. He knows for a fact that they're not going to make him play in back-to-backs. Because it doesn't help them to win. And 2, the more games Zion plays, the more likely it is to pick up yet another injury. So they're resting him, making sure he's right for a season that matters. Whether they keep him next year or get rid of him, they're capturing the flag. And now, because he knows his team doesn't want him on the floor, he's there like, oh man, I want to play. I want to play. It's taken, 6 years for him to actually want to play in an NBA game, it seems? Genuinely. Like, you can say whatever you want when there's no repercussions. Genuinely. You can say whatever the hell you want when you know there is no repercussions at all. So, yeah, Zion Williamson's doing Zion things, I guess. That's the only way I can describe it, is it's Zion doing Zion things. But, yeah, so that is pretty much it, lads. That's pretty much it on this. Like, I just don't... Like, look, I'm annoyed about some of the... honestly, some of the Zion situations. Like, some of the things in the Zion situation. And it's just always, for me, frustrating when it looks like a player doesn't care. And with Zion, it's been evident for his whole career that he doesn't care. And then once the team kind of wants him to step away a little bit, show up sometimes, make sure he's healthy, whether it be to trade him or use him next season, he's then, like, calls out the organization being like, oh, now I care. It's like, man. If you haven't cared enough to play in the playoffs when you didn't feel like Zion. So, like, when a team says, you know what, we don't want you playing in back-to-backs for your own health, and all of a sudden now it's, oh, I can play. No. Give me a break, Zion. Give me a break. One of the most talented players ever. It's not even one of the most talented, one of the highest ceiling players ever in basketball. And I think a lot of us can be in agreement on that. But he hasn't... In fairness, he actually looks in shape. Or that is the wrong video. That's from the WNBA channel. I have to actually give him credit, though. He actually looks in the best shape of his career. But, yeah. Like, I still don't think that he, that he's cared enough about the sport to this stage. And I don't think it's like an Embiid. He doesn't have he doesn't have Greg Oden knees. But, like, I think Zion Williamson might go down as one of the especially with how good he was in his first year and in his second half of the first year after he came back from injury, and his second year. I think Zion Williamson is going to go down as one of the biggest disappointments in NBA history, because I just don't know if he cares enough about the sport. I think he cares more about getting out of New Orleans than he does about anything else basketball-wise.